Well, good evening. It's Aaron Patrick Mitchell, and as always, let's talk about some creepy shit. So today I want to talk to you about cryptids. Now, I live in Southern California, and unlike Northern California or the Pacific Northwest, we don't have a whole lot of legends of cryptids compared to Bigfoot. But there is a legend. Now, we are in the same state, even though California is a huge state for anybody who doesn't live in California. From Northern California to where I live, I am closer to the border of Mexico than I am the northern part of California. It takes me 2 hours to get to Mexico. Northern California, look about 8 to 9 to 10 to 12 hours. Like where the redwood forest is and things like that, or sequoias. So, there is a legend. It's about an hour away from where I live. I live in Yucca Man, California. Not that far away from Palm Springs, and what they call just the desert, not the high desert. Now, Joshua Tree, it's not that far away. A little bit higher elevation than Palm Springs, but it's out there. The reason why people like going to Joshua Tree is a beautiful landscape. If you ever want to go and just actually have a town that was built for shooting westerns out there. Beautiful, beautiful desert landscape. These Joshua trees that are out there. Thus the name. Out there, the legend is the Yucca Man, which apparently is a cousin or the same species as Bigfoot. I'm going to tell you two stories. One that is told by a Marine in 1970s. There is Edwards, there's a Marine base out there in 29 Palms. And the story is, this man that was watching guard is Marine, and in the middle of the night, he sees something out there, hears something, pulls his sidearm, walks out to find out what's going on. That's all he remembers. The next day he's found unconscious, with his weapon, bent like a paperclip. He doesn't really remember what happened. I believe he remembered a large figure. And there's other stories out there that have been in the same area of discussion. The story I have is by somebody who I'm acquainted with that likes to go out in Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree has a lot less light pollution out there. And it's a great place to go out there and see the Milky Way. Beautiful. I've been there out at night, and it's almost overwhelming how beautiful it is when you look at the night sky. So he's out there taking pictures. And if anybody's in Joshua Tree National Forest, there's this big rock formations you can climb, and like I said, it's almost like being in a Western movie. And like I said, they'd filmed a lot of Westerns out there. And he's out there taking photos. And he's mostly taking photos of the sky. It's him and his son out there. And they're just enjoying it. They're not too far away from civilization. And they hear a noise. And it's out in the middle of the wilderness. So it could be anything. It's about dusk. So he's starting to see the stars come through, and they're getting set up and taking pictures and things like that. And keeps on hearing these noises going towards dusk. And then nightfall hits, and they build a little camp. They're going to stay most of the night out there. They don't live that far away from there, so even if they need to drive home, it's not that far away. And he's fiddling with his camera, trying to get light settings out there, and it's a beautiful, clear night. And he's taking these beautiful pictures of the moon and everything like that. Even if you don't have a camera with a lens on there, it's just gorgeous. And he's fiddling with it. And he's got his picture down here, and so he's just taking some, random pictures, and doesn't really have a flash or anything, and just the lights from where they're kind of camped at. And he's kind of getting settings, and he takes a picture, and he's going through and looking at it, and in one of the pictures he takes, there's a dark form. And this picture was taken a few moments later, and it's a big form. He thinks it's a tree, and he's like, well, maybe it's just a Joshua tree that I haven't gotten, or there's a rock. Goes to where it's at, just out of curiosity. There's nothing there. So, he's not too, he's like just, maybe the lighting or whatever. He thought, okay, instead of taking pictures of, the area, I'll just keep on taking pictures around this. And so he takes pictures around, didn't see anything else, but in the middle, say about a half hour later, a pretty decent sized rock is thrown. He said it was like a softball throw. They were not near. They were probably about 100 feet away from one of these rock formations that occur in Joshua Tree. And he says the rock was a little bit bigger than a softball. And it lands right between him and his son. Now he thinks somebody out there also just, messing around with him. And that's pretty dangerous, that big of a rock that could kill somebody. So, turns on all these big flashlights, looking around, cannot find anything. All night, he said, for less than 2 hours, he would hear noises to his left and to his right. For a while, he thought he was just one thing or one person out there messing with him. To the point where he got into his car, and he carries a gun in his car when they go out into national parks, stuff like that, for wild animals or whatever. He pulled it out. That's how worried he was. He said small things were thrown at him, twigs were broke. He said that he walked by a Joshua tree that was fully formed, and then he heard a crack, and they went back to the same place, and a whole branch was broken off, laying on the ground. What's your thoughts? Somebody out there playing jokes on them? Is the story real? Am I lying? Or has anybody else had any experience with the Yucca Man and Joshua Tree, or any of the high desert or low desert areas? Hit me up. And as always,